right, welcome again to Core Discussions. We're over here in our whatever episode this is. Today, our fun conversation is going to be on horror movies, seeing as it is going to be, seeing as it is October. A lot of horror movie fans in our presence, but let's go ahead and start introducing ourselves. My name is Legacy.
And my name's Max.
I'm Bobby D3.
I'm Eon Catania.
I'm Vitamin J.
I'm Hunter.
One day, hopefully, these guys will show their faces.
Yeah, and we'll just
They see my face.
I'm a VTuber. I can't.
Same, yeah.
Show
okay.
your VTube then.
Whatever
What?
you want. All right.
All right, Hunter.
Hey, you see my face?
You can
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see.
All right, so welcome. As you all know at this point, we're just a group of friends. Always want to do a podcast, and we finally got some time to do one, and just having fun and discussing whatever. This is going to be another interesting one. There is one person that is not here. His is another buddy of us, Big Joshy. He sent in his list, and everybody sent in a list. They listed top 10 horror movies, their top 10 favorite horror movies from 1 to 10. The first place gets 10 points, 10th place gets 1 point, and then I did the math through a lovely Microsoft. Well, actually, no, I did it on Google Docs, and it gave me my whole ordering system for the top 10. Except for this time, since there was several ties, I think I have about 13 movies over there. Just because there's a several-way tie. We're going to go through them, discuss them, what they like, what they don't like, and why I say they is because I'm not a horror movie fan, so my opinion really won't be put into this, but everybody else is a huge horror movie fan. So, is everybody ready?
Let's do it.
Ready.
Yep.
All right, so coming in 10th place, there with 10 points, there's actually a three-way tie. The first one with the recent hit, it just recently got back in 2017, got rebooted. The classic of It Part 1, as well as a lovely horror comedy called Young Frankenstein, and the other one will be a very old movie that nobody knows about called The Invisible Man. So going through, The Invisible Man was only voted on by D3 over there. He put it first place. Young Frankenstein was voted on by Mr. Catan.
Yeah.
He put it first place, as well as It Part 1 was voted on by Max over here, put it 6th. D3 put it 8th place, and Big Joshy put it 9th place. So you all go ahead. We will discuss. Let's go ahead with D3. Go ahead, discuss The Invisible Man.
Invisible Man is from the Universal Monster series. It stars Claude Rains as Dr. Griffin. He is one of my favorite actors of that era. And we all know the story. He's a scientist. He finds a way to become invisible, and he goes mad. It has great special effects, especially for 1933. I mean, it still holds up today, which is very impressive for a movie that's almost 90 years old. And the story...
Are we sure? Does it?
Yeah.
Does it
Yeah,
really?
does it hold up?
I'm
Yes,
just
I
writing I'm just writing my little notes here.
I have an
Bobby
HD
loves-
copy of it, and it holds up for 1933.
How can it be high def from the 1930s?
Well, what they do, hunters, we won't get into that. Ian, you can cut that part. We just won't get into how they actually make an HD quality of it.
I said, they shot it with IMAX cameras back then. Yeah.
I was actually ready for the explanation.
Oh,
there.
it's just a lot of computers. They get the master copy and they use computers to help make it look nicer and cleaner, make it look more like a today movie.
I'm just writing down here. Bobby loves old movies.
Yeah, I do.
Which
But
you will
again,
find out.
it was directed by James Well, who also directed Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein, another two classics of that time period. And pretty much James Wells helped redefine the horror genre. And The Invisible Man is probably one of my favorite movies ever made, because Claude Rains is He could play. He has such. How can I describe? He has such a maniac ability for laughter and a maniac ability to play crazy. And the story holds up, and it's still. Without this movie, we wouldn't get that rematch. We wouldn't get the movie that was made in 2020.
That was really good, by the way.
I still need to see it. This movie helped usher in a new era for horror movies and horror comedies. It's one of the first horror comedies ever made.
Yeah, it was 1933. I agree.
Yeah,
It's probably one of the first movies made, you know?
Oh my
I was
god.
gonna say, did he really redefine horror movies? Because I feel like he probably invented it at that point. Like,
no, he
did
didn't invent it because he didn't do a lot of silent movies because silent movies started the horror franchises.
Yeah, but
You know, he didn't.
do we count some?
Does Invisible Man? I think the Hollow Man beats the Invisible Man because that's Kevin. Bacon.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, first of all, the Hollow Man we both
I
know
do
is a
say
terrible
Hollow
movie.
Man.
You're gonna
Is
make,
it?
you can make Bobby mad. You can make him
Is
Yeah,
it
we
mad.
know
though?
it's a terrible movie.
What?
It's got Kevin Bacon in it.
Yeah, it's got Kevin Bacon. So does
The
your movie have
Baconator.
Kevin Bacon? Does your movie have Kevin
Yeah.
Bacon?
It
And
doesn't
someone
have,
better than Claude Rains.
Isn't James Spader in that too?
Maybe. I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I agree. The movie did suck. Buyer's amazed.
How dare
All
you?
the four movies on the planet, you picked one from 1933.
Sorry, it was also very important to the horror movie genre. It was iconic.
Look, it could be iconic. It's not gonna make my list.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I was just helping Bobby out. You know, it's iconic. It's very iconic, right,
We
Bobby?
should be grateful to the Universal Studios for making horror movies because they're the ones that first proved that how successful financially these movies can be. And a lot of studios didn't want to take a chance on horror movies until Universal laid the blueprint on how to make money off it. And the Universal Monster Series is the first interconnected movie franchise. It beat Marvel to the punch by about 70, 80 years.
That's fine and dandy. Just not making the list because of that.
I'm just saying, you should appreciate what was laid
I
before.
appreciate it. It's not making the damn list.
All right, all right.
So what was that, Max?
Catan, let's go
Big
into
hug to
Young
the punch.
Frankenstein. Young Frankenstein, Catan.
All right. So just the bit about me in general when it comes to horror movies. I like to laugh. Like, I do like spooks. I do like scares. But I just like it when people there's a mix of comedy in it because it shows, like, A, they know how to write good things. B, they're not just doing, like, jump scares, cheap jump scares. It's like, yeah, we've seen millions of jump scares. It's like, it's not high quality, in my opinion. But Young Frankenstein, it's a comedy. It was made... It was kind of like a U2 spoof back then. It was made in 1974, and the spoof was of Frankenstein. And so this comedy was directed by Mel Brooks, and it was also co-written by Gene Wilder, which was the person that made Frankenstein the movie. And just if you ever want to see like Frankenstein like tap dance on stage where fashion fits put on the Ritz, I mean, this is the movie for you. There's a lot of good comedy. There's one part where he gets the person that makes Frankenstein gets locked up in a room with him, and it's like this joke like, whatever happens, whatever I say, don't let me out. And then of course, like a minute in, he's like, let me out. I was joking before. Let me out. So this movie is very classic. I just think it's a good watch. I would recommend it to anyone, especially if you want a good laugh, like having the spooky theme during Halloween.
And that's
Also,
how I
you
think.
You said Mel Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
with-
legendary
I was saying Mel Brooks is, if you haven't watched his other work, he is comedy gold.
Yes.
Yes.
He is, you said, Robin Hood Men in Tights, Spaceballs, what was it? Yes,
Blazing Saddles,
Blazing Saddles, that's what I was
Dude.
thinking.
the
Which a lot of
producers.
young people get upset about his humor, but
I'll say he did producer. He did so many classic movies.
A lot of loud young people, not young. I'm just kidding.
And I will say, there's another joke that always makes me laugh. Is the Abby Normal joke. Instead of abnormal, Igor mistakes it for Abby Normal, like
Yeah.
the actual person's name.
Yeah. So he gives him the wrong brain for his monster Frankenstein.
All right, and the last one we're going to talk about is the reboot of good old It Part 1. Max, I think you put it the highest, so I'll let you get into that one.
Well, first of all, I'll say I did like the original It. That was a TV miniseries. Besides the ending, which was utter garbage. but I did like Tim Curry as Pennywise, and when they announced they were remaking it, I was kind of like, nah, man, no one's gonna. Who's gonna do Pennywise? No one can do it as good as Tim Curry. And then when I went to see it, I saw which Skarsgård is it?
Bill Scott.
Bill Skarsgård. Yeah, when I saw him as Pennywise, the first scene you see Pennywise is in the gutter scene. I mean, you could tell right at that scene, you're like, oh, yep, he nailed it, absolutely nailed it. And then, I mean, he was so good through that whole movie with his own weird face that he made. He just brought different. I won't say it's not the same as Tim Curry did it, but he did it differently, which is good because you don't want to just rehash the same thing. So it's good that he did his own spin on it, and it worked out. And I would probably say he's better than Tim Curry, even though Tim Curry was really good. Skarsgård did it even better, probably. But another good thing about It Part 1 is that they found a whole bunch of kid actors, and each one of them was a good actor. You never really see that anymore. It's so hard to find one good kid actor, but they found, 5? So it's pretty impressive. And then the scares in this movie I'm not really scared of my mini horror movies because I've seen so many, but I thought they did a good job with some of the scares. Not too many jump scares. And then they didn't overdo Pennywise, so they did the classic leave them wanting more, so you didn't get too tired of seeing them. You left the movie theater saying, I wish I saw some more, which is always a good thing. And then I won't talk about the second one, but the ending to it is always a bit messy. The ending to the second part wasn't very good either. Better than a TV miniseries for sure, but for some reason they can never end this movie well.
Yeah, apparently it was 7 kids in the Losers Club.
D3, you voted it at 8. Anything to add?
Well, I'll say the difference in Tim Curry's and Bill Skarsgård's performance is Tim Curry is more comedic. Bill Skarsgård is more scary. And to me, that's like the biggest key to why this movie was so successful is that Skarsgård made sure he wasn't being overly comedic. He was trying to be, scary, which he succeeded very well at.
Alright. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah,
I can carry up for you, but yeah, with the book is 900 pages in it, Jacob. So it
it's over 1,000.
Yeah, that's long.
So to get it the way the book does it, you have to make it like 3 or 4 movies. So there's no way it would ever be done that way.
There's a book to it?
Oh yeah,
a significant portion.
I just feel like I just better like in the second.
What's going on?
You're breaking up too.
Breaking up too.
Hold on. Give me one
Damn.
second.
Alright, pause. Mountain, go, because you were in and out a lot.
Yeah, I do that a lot. But no, I'm just saying, like with the second one. I mean, I know we're talking about the first one, but the second one, the ending was so lame. Like they bully him to death. Like it's so lame. Like they can come with better ending than that.
It's better than the original one.
Yeah, but not by much. I mean, they like make fun of him to death. Like, oh, Pennywise, you got a small piece.
They're showing that they're not afraid of them.
At least it didn't
make fun of me.
Bicycle scene where the guy's trying to wake up his wife.
Alright, the next 2 movies came in tied at 8th place. Both with 11 points. Both of them are pretty big. They're going to be very iconic to what they did, kind of for different reasons. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be the 2017 psychological thriller by Jordan Peele. It is Get Out. It came in with The Mountain voting at 10th. And Big Joshy voting it first.
Oh, wow, first.
First. Both of them kind of were pretty. I felt they were big, just more. Jordan Peele was kind of because it was the first time of really an all black cast or a horror movie that was a black male was the lead.
That was taken seriously.
Probably. Yeah.
Since you voted at 10.
Both of them were. Yeah, so that we'll hit that one first.
Which one did you hit first?
No,
Get Out.
Second. Get Out.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm sure since Josh put it number 1, he would have a lot more reasons to put it higher than me. But I don't know. I just enjoyed the movie. It wasn't really scary for me, but it was. I don't know. It was pretty tense. I love the atmosphere he set, and then the ideas for the movie about like white people using black people's bodies and stuff. I mean, it's pretty good. And I don't know, I just thought it was really well acted, and I thought it was Jordan Peele's better. I thought it was better than Us, even though Us was really good as well. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say Jordan Peele is amazing at the fine details of his movies, like Get Out, how the main character manages to not be brainwashed as he picks cotton out of a sofa. I mean, that reference cuts deep for a lot of reasons. It's just his attention to detail is on par with some of the greats right now for the horror genre. He doesn't seem like he misses anything or any references that you won't notice.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen the movie, but it has had like a big. I remember when it came out, had a very big impact of, especially just being like the first movie that was like this, and off of felt was taking a topic and just putting it to the horror genre and kind of moving it and still making, because he did win best screenwriter or
Best original screenplay, something like that.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he won that at the Oscars, so that was a huge go to it. And a twist at the end, which somebody spoiled for me, but
And
maybe one day I will.
I will say again, like a lot of times when you think of a movie like that, white people taking black people's body, they're gonna try to play, like the southern conservative type.
Mhm.
But Jordan Peele kind of switches it. He makes it like the white liberal family, because even the dad will say he would have voted for Obama 3 times. So it kind of throws that part off a little bit than what you normally would see.
All right. So the next one we're gonna hit is gonna be one of the most iconic horror movies. Very much. It came out in 1979. Really changed an era and really shaped a lot of movies like this. Especially, I felt did a lot for the monster genre and taking it to a different level. This one was voted on by Max. Put it at 5th, and Vitamin J put it at 6th. It is the, what was it? Ridley Scott? No,
No, it was
He made
James
that.
Cameron.
James Cameron, Alien.
Ridley Scott was a writer on it.
Writer.
But I voted it high because, like I said, it kind of launched a new era of movie monsters. Because what do you say, came out 1979? So, like, I mean, that's, after, of course, after Frankenstein and Dracula and all of them. So it kind of was a gap in, like, the new monsters. And then I think Alien came out for the first new wave of monster movies. And they did a good job, like I mentioned earlier, with Pennywise, but they didn't overdo it. They definitely didn't overdo the alien in this movie because you hardly see it. But they did a good job of setting an atmosphere where you are always, when you're watching the movie, you think the main character is always in danger because you just don't know where this alien is in this ship. So you think that someone could be dealt with at any time. And one important thing about this movie is that it put in the forefront the main character being a woman, which is not something you typically saw in a horror movie. And not only that, she didn't die in the movie, so normally they are kind of like bait for the killers.
Yeah, she wasn't like a helpless victim.
Right? Yeah, she wasn't helpless at all. The men were kind of helpless in this movie. But no, she definitely was one of the first strong women characters in a horror movie. Which, I mean, and then later on, there's more. It started happening more and more after that. But now the alien did a good job. Which is not even only that, the character design of the alien was unique. With the long head and then the mouth inside a mouth. I don't think anyone had ever seen that before. At least I had. I mean, I had no idea. But no, they did good with that, and then kind of spawned. I think it probably helped spawn the Predator movies. The idea of a monster hunting down a group of people.
Yeah.
This one should have been on my list. I wasn't thinking like aliens being horror, but I mean,
Yeah,
like
me
I know Ripley kind of inspired. This is like a trivia. Ripley kind of inspired Nintendo, and Metroid is directly inspired by this movie and how big of a impact it had on the world. Because at the end of, this is not a spoiler because people should know this, but at the end of the first game, you realize that the bounty hunter you play as is a woman. And there's an enemy in Metroid called Ridley, which is like a metal, like it's like a pirate lord, which is like a pterodactyl, and obviously it's based off Ripley from this, so it inspired that whole gaming genre kind of as well.
And quick correction: this was directed by Ridley Scott. James Cameron.
Yeah, he did the second one. Yeah.
Okay, so I was right. Okay.
And I would say, like,
writer.
I don't even know. I don't even think he was, but he might have been. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they both.
But yeah, I mean, Aliens definitely spawned one of the most iconic characters. Everybody knows the Xenomorph, and most people probably recognize a facehugger if they saw it.
In a chest burster and all that.
Yeah,
Face
chest
is
burster,
terrifying.
yeah. So like the concepts in the movie, I mean, countless movies have tried to do what Alien has done, and it hasn't. A nice claustrophobic environment. Like you said, the final person is the woman. The men are the kind of helpless in it. They kind of, I don't know if they meant for this, but a lot of people say that this movie shows like men being forcibly impregnated by the facehuggers, which they do, and so they get a taste of what that is like.
And man, if that's childbirth, I don't want to go do that.
Yeah, yeah. But
When you think of it, like before Aliens, most movies that had aliens in it for the horror genre, they were humanoid aliens. You know, they look like us, they could talk like us, or if they were actually didn't look like us, they can transform into a human. Alien said, forget that. This is a monster.
Yeah.
This alien is not gonna be like us. It's not gonna try to talk to us or reason with us. It's out to kill us.
Well, also quite a bit of them had like it would be an alien invasion, not just one alien.
yeah, and that's like one reason why I think this one is definitely like horror, because there's one alien in a claustrophobic spaceship hunting you, and you don't see it much, and it has like kind of jump scares in it. They kind of turn, later in the movies they turn to like more action, kind of like the Resident Evil video game series. They turned less scary and more actiony as they went on before they did the reboot. But no, it's a really good job. A real effective use of horror.
I do know there's a scene early in the movie where you freeze it, you can see the alien very early on in the movie.
Ooh.
It's like hiding up in like the rafters. You can see it. You just gotta pause it at the right moment, which to me that's amazing by Ridley Scott. He shows you it before you even actually see it in action.
Well, another thing is another thing I like is that this whole situation could have been avoided that they just didn't go into the den. I don't know what you call it, but the den with all the eggs. And if you just didn't go in there, you would have been fine.
Well, naturally.
Humans always do more than they should and get themselves in trouble.
That's like all the Alien movies and Prometheus. They like see these little eggs or this little creature, like, oh, let me see this cute little creature, and then it spits in your face, and then it's acid, and it jumps in your mouth.
I just love it.
Actually, I don't know if the first one they're supposed to be scientists or not, but I know Prometheus, so you're supposed to be scientists. You should know not to do that.
Well, then the map maker the dude that's supposed to be good at maps gets lost. But it's
We're talking about Alien.
Prometheus.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the next one we're gonna do came out. Next one that comes in with 14 points, placed at number 7, is actually going to be Back to the Comedy. This was voted on by Mr. Catan, who put it 5th, and Josh, who put it 3rd. It came out in 2010. I actually seen this movie. It's a pretty funny movie. It is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. All right, Mr. Catan, I'll let you explain that movie.
Oh wow, this didn't happen last time. Cool. So yeah, this movie, like I said, I really like comedies and stuff like that. And this one, it takes like a stereotype, like if you see, usually in horror movies, if you see like, kind of like, what's the proper word? Like hicks.
Hillbilly.
Yeah, like if you see them in movies, usually they're like the evil ones. They're gonna murder you. But it turns out like the college students are the ones that get murdered, and so it looks like that they're the ones doing it, but it's actually to the hillbillies like point of view, it looks like they're just like killing themselves and stuff like that, but it's something else entirely, which I'm not gonna spoil. But there's a lot of like good laughs in this movie. The pairings that happen with like relationship wise is funny to me. I haven't seen it recently, but I enjoyed it. I probably should rewatch it for Halloween.
It's actually funny. We watched it at Max's house.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
that was
Hilarious.
right. There was that one scene where one of them, spoiler alert, I mean, they die. One of them like runs into the tree, like spy, whichever, just not looking where he's. That was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then he turns to his friends like, these teenagers are just killing themselves.
So, yeah.
Then he goes to the officer like, "Officer, I had a doozy of a day."
I love the
Yeah.
part too where one of them, I think one of the girls, like they think they kidnap her because she's like doesn't know how to swim or something, and then they're like the two like hillbillies are like, we got your friend, and they're like, oh no, they got whatever her face is.
Yeah, and it plays on the characters in horror movies are always so stupid. So it just this movie plays that up to like the nth degree and is like really playing it up. But yeah, I think that's where that idea comes from because in every horror movie, like, why are you going into the shed with all the knives? Jason or whoever's gonna be right there to stab you.
I actually like this as a satire on horror movies better than Cabin in the Woods. I like this
Yeah,
one
I think
better.
I'd rather rewatch that one.
Yeah, Cabin was good, but it's not.
Like both of them play on like horror movie tropes and like what audience expect, but I don't know. I like the way Tucker and Dale does it better.
Yeah. It was really like I'll give it. It was a really creative idea. Like I actually enjoyed this movie. It was a really creative idea.
If you guys know other movies like that or people watching at home, feel free to put in the comment section. I'd love to see what you guys come up with.
All right, so we're gonna go on to number 6. We're going to actually talk about a sequel. Came out in 2016 by 2016. Very pop. The first one came out was very popular. They did it again. Still hit. Still was very much as liked. It is The Conjuring 2. It was voted on by both The Mountain and Max. Put it at 3, and yeah, those two put it on the list. So you all discuss.
I'll start. First thing I'll say about this movie is that it has one of my favorite scenes in any horror movie ever. Is the introduction of the nun, which if anyone, I'm sorry, there's gonna be spoilers because you should have seen it by now. But when the nun is walking, Dan, what's her name?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, yeah.
Lorraine Warren, that's it.
And
When Lorraine Warren is in the room and she sees the shadow of the nun walking towards the painting of the nun, which you see earlier in the movie. But the way they set up that scene, I think, is one of the best scenes in horror movies that I've seen. The way they did it was perfect. James Wan is a master at horror movies, besides Dead Silence. But no, the way he did great with this one, which I'm sure we'll talk about the other one, the Conjuring one, in a little bit. But Conjuring 2, they did a great job introducing other characters such as the Crooked Man. He was pretty creepy, and it's pretty cool to find out that was not done with any sort of special effects. They just found some guy with really extra long limbs to do that. But that was pretty cool. Story with the old guy who is who you think is the bad guy throughout most of the movie, and then later on you find out he's just being used by the nun as a means to get to the Warrens. Was pretty cool. It got a little twist at the end, but that was pretty interesting. To the original one, it's not quite as good, but this one's definitely. I mean, this is my top 3 you said. So I mean, it's definitely one of my favorite horror movies. Just rewatch over and over again, and yeah, I was hoping the way they set this up with the nun would be another classic, but that didn't come to be.
The Mountain. What you got?
I mean, I agree with them. I mean, one of my favorite things about the Conjuring series, at least the first 2, was that James Wan does such a good job of setting like the atmosphere. He makes it such a creepy atmosphere, and especially with the second one, he does such a good job with that. It's one of the most recent horror movies that I found actually. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't say it scared me, but I mean, definitely creeped me out a little bit. Some of the scenes. Because I'll be sitting there and be like, oh, heck no, I need some new drawers or something if that was going to happen in real life. But he just knocks out of the park again and again. So, but
one thing that James Wan does, he does this in almost every horror movie he does. He'll set you up for you think a jump scare's coming, and he'll draw it out like, oh, it's coming out, and then there's nothing. There'll be no jump scare. And then later on in the movie, he'll come back to something again, and he'll set it up. And this time there could be a jump scare, or it may not be. but he'll do that a couple times, and then he'll finally hit you with one, and then you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I feel like he did that a little more at the first one, subverting your expectations a little bit, but he did it again in this one, and he's just a master at that.
And he doesn't rely he has jump scares, but doesn't rely too much on them, unlike the person who directed the third Conjuring. But yeah, he does a good job. He actually does what's rare in horror movies nowadays, and actually have a compelling plot.
The plot is secondary to the scares. Come on now.
In modern horror, yes.
Mhm.
Which is rare when someone like James Wan makes Conjuring 2, which, actually have a plot. It's fantastic.
I'll watch any horror movie James Wan does. I mean, I just watched *Malignant*, so I'll watch anything he does.
Yeah, I also enjoyed that. So.